In 1518, 400 people danced in the streets until some of them died. They weren't celebrating. They were screaming, begging for it to stop, but their bodies wouldn't let them. And when the city authorities saw what was happening, their solution was to hire musicians and build stages to help them dance more. This is the dancing plague of 1518, and what caused it is one of the most disturbing mysteries in history. Picture this. You're walking through the town square of Strasbourg on a scorching summer day. You turn a corner and see a woman dancing wildly in the middle of the street. At first, you think it's some kind of celebration, but then you notice her face. She's not smiling. She's terrified. Her feet are bleeding through her shoes. Her dress is soaked in sweat. She's been dancing for hours, maybe days. You ask her what's wrong, and she screams back at you, "I can't stop. Please, someone make it stop." The next day, 3 more people start dancing, then 10, then 50. Within a month, 400 people are dancing nonstop in the streets, and nobody knows why. Now, to understand how this nightmare began, you need to know what Strasbourg was like in 1518. It was a complete mess. The city had just survived a brutal famine. Crops had failed for years. Disease was spreading through the cramped streets. People were literally starving. On top of that, the Catholic Church was telling everyone that God was punishing them for their sins. So, the people of Strasbourg were already on edge, hungry, sick, and convinced that divine wrath was coming for them at any moment. And then, on July 14th, 1518, a woman named Frau Trofea walks into the main square. She's just a normal person, a housewife, nothing special. But on this particular day, she starts dancing, and she doesn't stop. For 6 days straight, Frau Trofea dances in the square. No food, no water, just dancing. Her husband tries to drag her home, but she fights him off and keeps dancing. The townspeople watch in horror. By day 4, her feet are completely shredded, with blood pooling in her shoes. By day 6, she collapses from pure exhaustion. The authorities drag her away to recover, and everyone thinks, well, that was weird, but at least it's over. It was not over. Within days, more people start dancing. First, it's 3 people, then 10, then 30. By the end of July, 400 people are dancing in the streets of Strasbourg. And here's the thing. They're not dancing because they want to. They're dancing because they can't stop. Witnesses describe people screaming, crying, begging to be tied down, but their bodies just keep moving. Some dance until they pass out from exhaustion. Some dance until their feet are so destroyed they can't walk. Some dance until their hearts give out and they die. The town leaders are in full panic mode. They call in doctors to figure out what's happening. The doctors examine the dancers, check their pulses, study their movements, and come to a professional medical conclusion. Their blood is too hot. Yeah, that's the diagnosis. Hot blood. So, the town leaders decide that if the problem is hot blood, they need to help the dancers cool it down by dancing it out. I'm not making this up. The city of Strasbourg's official response to 400 people dancing uncontrollably was to encourage more dancing. They hire professional musicians. They build wooden stages in the town square. They bring in dancers to show them how it's done. The logic was simple. If they dance long enough, they'll tire themselves out. The hot blood will cool down, and everything will go back to normal. This made everything so much worse. Now, there are musicians playing nonstop in the square, day and night. The dancers are still going, their movements becoming more frantic and desperate. Days turn into weeks. Bodies are starting to pile up. At this point, the town is starting to realize something important. Oh no, this was a terrible idea. So they pivot completely. They ban all music. They ban public dancing. They shut down the stages. But the dancers don't stop because this isn't about music anymore. This is something else entirely. The church steps in and decides that this must be divine punishment. God is angry, and the only way to fix this is through prayer. So they organize a pilgrimage. They load the dancers onto wooden carts, and here's the insane part. The dancers are still dancing in the carts as they're being transported. They parade them through the countryside to a nearby shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers. The priests pray over them, bless them with holy water, and perform rituals. And finally, after weeks of non-stop dancing, the plague begins to fade. By early September, the dancing stops. The survivors are left traumatized, exhausted, and confused. But the question remains, what the hell just happened? So what actually caused the dancing plague? Historians have been arguing about this for 500 years, and there are three main theories. Theory number 1, ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that grows on rye grain. When people eat contaminated bread, it causes hallucinations, convulsions, and muscle spasms. Sounds like dancing, right? But here's the problem with this theory. Ergot poisoning also causes gangrene and serious vascular issues. The dancers didn't show any of those symptoms. Plus, ergot makes you feel like your skin is on fire. Would you really keep dancing if you felt like you were burning alive? Probably not. Theory number 2, mass psychogenic illness, also known as mass hysteria. This is the idea that the dancing was entirely psychological, a stress response to famine, disease, and religious fear. The people of Strasbourg genuinely believed that Saint Vitus could curse you with uncontrollable dancing if you angered him. So, when one person started dancing, others believed they were cursed too, and their brains actually made their bodies dance. This theory is the most accepted by historians, and here's why. It explains why the plague only happened in Strasbourg, where there was a local belief in Saint Vitus. It explains why the dancing stopped after the pilgrimage, because the psychological relief broke the spell. And it explains why no physical cause was ever found, despite extensive investigation. Theory number 3. It was just a really weird party that got out of hand. Okay, nobody actually believes this one, but imagine trying to explain this to aliens. Yeah, so 400 people danced until some of them died. Why? We're not entirely sure. Now, you might be thinking, this could never happen today. We're too rational, too scientific. But mass psychogenic illness still happens all the time. In 2011, a high school in upstate New York had an outbreak of Tourette's-like symptoms. Students developed sudden tics and couldn't stop twitching. Doctors investigated extensively. No physical cause was ever found. In 1962, a laughing epidemic broke out in Tanzania. It started with 3 girls laughing uncontrollably in a boarding school and spread to over 1,000 people across multiple villages. The human brain is incredibly powerful, and when entire communities believe something deeply enough, their bodies will respond. The dancing plague wasn't really about dancing. It was about fear, starvation, and religious terror. It was about what happens when an entire city reaches its breaking point. So that's the story of the dancing plague of 1518. 400 people danced in the streets of Strasbourg. Some danced until they collapsed. Some danced until they died. And the city's official solution was to hire musicians and make them dance more. To this day, we still don't know exactly what caused it. But one thing is certain: when an entire city is starving, terrified, and convinced that God is punishing them, sometimes the body finds the strangest ways to scream for help. If you're curious about more absurd moments in history, where people made situations catastrophically worse by trying to help, check out the suggested video.